Hello, everyone. I'm Evan Doran, Associate Editor at Modern Machine Shop, and I'll be your moderator today. Today's webinar, Utilizing Digital Tools to Maintain Manufacturing Compliance, is presented by Bobbie Jarvi, VP of Radley Operations for CAI Software. Her presentation will discuss how manufacturing software and other digital tools can help shops stay compliant with regulatory bodies and customers alike, drawing upon several real-life examples. If you have any questions for Bobbie, please use the Q&A box on the right side of your screen. As a reminder, today's webinar is being recorded and will be available for on-demand viewing shortly after today's session. With that, I'll turn it over to Bobbie. Take it away.
All right, thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. Again, my name is Bobbie Jarvi, and I'm the VP of Operations of the Radley division of CAI Software. To give you a little background about Radley, Radley started business in 1974. It was two gentlemen, Roland Radinsky and David Lay. So Rad and Lay together formed Radley. And they started out with reselling enterprise systems, ERPs, and doing some implementations there. In the 1980s, Radley started working with Ford Motor Company to develop EDI specifications and work with them on EDI translation. Now, for any of you that aren't familiar with what EDI is, EDI stands for electronic data interchange. And basically what it is a way for you to automatically and integratingly and also just make sure that you have standards of how you will work with trading partners. Now, you're going to hear me say trading partner a lot today. Trading partner mainly could be customers that you work with, but also it could be suppliers. And with EDI, what we're doing is we're automating the processes of order entry, of shipping, of invoicing, warehouse transactions, logistics transactions. So with EDI, that's what we are doing. And again, Radley started doing that in the 80s, and that's been our niche for all of these years. Right now, in the poll questions, if you guys could answer yes or no, if you're actually using an EDI system currently. In the 1990s, Radley also started with material traceability software. So we use that in the warehouse. So from barcode scanning, from receiving, through putting it in the warehouse, to production, to shipping. All of that we brought on with software in the 1990s. In 2020, Radley joined the CAI software group. And CAI is a whole group of all different manufacturing use softwares. So CAI has not only Radley for EDI, but they also have many different ERP systems. So these ERP systems are kind of more in niche markets, like for the food industry, we have some. There's also ERPs for other types of things, seafood processing, meat processing. There is manufacturing systems, MES. We also have warehouse management systems, process automation. So with Radley now being part of CAI, we're able to offer manufacturers front office to back office and all production, shipping dock. We cover all of manufacturer needs from one end to the other. So right now, we've had a lot of uncertainty coming up currently in the markets. And, it's really important to be able to be adaptable. If you're not able to adapt to everything that is happening, it can really adversely affect your business. The world is moving fast and becoming more complex. We really found that out with COVID, right? Store shelves were empty. We couldn't get goods in. Goods were sitting at the docks, not coming in. And we really did see a lot of issues in the supply chain at that point. So those companies that were able to adapt with the changes with COVID, having a wide open visibility to their supply chains, maybe even changing what they did in manufacturing. We had one customer that they made plastic parts for cars, and they actually switched their production at that time to create plastic bottles that were holders for disinfectant. So they had to change what was going on. The automotive industry, the suppliers were really hurting at that point. So for them, it made sense to actually retool what they were doing and take one of their factories and change what they were doing, and keeping some of the other factories still open for automotive. And now we're everything's unpredictable again with all of these tariffs. No one knows what's going to happen. Are they on? Are they off? Are we able to move forward? What are we going to do? So you really need to make sure that you have systems in place and partners that you work with that can help you adapt and move forward and be very productive. There's another poll question now, which we'd like for you to answer. And what industry do you work in? There's multiple choice there. And if you do actually choose other, if you could put in the chat what other industry you're working in. I want to share a few stories about adaptability and challenges that have happened with some of our customers at Radley, and how we've handled them. I know that some of you probably might be automotive suppliers also. So maybe some of these things that I'm going to touch on, you've actually been involved with. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is with Subaru. We actually had a change that was required by Subaru that happened in mid-February, on February 17th to be exact. And on that day, Subaru released to all of their suppliers that they were going to be making a change in their EDI, where they were going to require routing information that would be coming in on the EDI to also be going back out on the advanced shipping notice EDI transaction. The big caveat there was they were making the change and it had to be in production by March 5th. So that gave actually less than 2 weeks for the Subaru suppliers to be ready and moved into production with these EDI changes. So at Radley, we always work very closely with our customers and the various OEMs. So as soon as suppliers started sending us the information that they received from Subaru, we immediately sent out an email to all of our Subaru suppliers and let them know what was going on in case they weren't already aware and did not receive the notification from Subaru. So we made those changes on our system. Development dropped everything, made sure that those changes were completed. They went through the QA system and we delivered that change to our customers before the deadline of March 1st. So you have to, again, these things can happen and these changes come up so quickly that you have to be able to react. We had the same thing recently with Nissan. Nissan has a few different facilities that are going to be changing the interchange IDs of their EDI. They're going to, where they used to be separated, they're going to now bring those all together. So that actually came to us directly from Nissan. So Nissan reached out to Radley for us to reach out to their suppliers that are our customers and come up with a plan for implementing this new rollout with them. So Radley, along with Nissan, reached out to their suppliers, and then we came up with an implementation plan for our customers to work directly with Nissan and do this rollout. So our customers will make the change on their system, we'll run through all of the new production with Nissan, and then we'll move on to the next supplier. So that's been going very smoothly. And because we have that relationship with these automotive OEMs, we have this ability to work directly with their suppliers that are our customers and make sure that there's nothing that happens to make any issues in the supply chain. We want to make sure that everything that is happening goes smoothly and that our customers are on top of it. The biggest one we've been doing lately also is with Honda. Now, I'm sure some of you are needing to actually print barcode labels for shipping. Those labels, a lot of our customers were using a software called Loftware. And Loftware recently, last year, decided that one of their packages that a lot of their customers used, called Loftware LPS, was now going to change to a new software that creates labels called Nice Label from Loftware. So that was really a big project for all of our customers because we had many customers using Loftware. And the formats of the labels, the label templates, actually all had to be redone. They had to be converted from the Loftware format to the Nice Label format. Now, Radley, our iCares product, is a Honda certified EDI solution. So we had to work with Honda to recertify all of their suppliers that use Radley to the new label format. So they all had to be retested and recertified. Now, during that process, we worked directly with Honda, and we would work again through the supplier list. We took individual suppliers. They had to send a copy of their old label and then also a copy of the new Nice Label. That information went to Honda. And then there also is a requirement by Honda that even the label media, so the actual labels themselves that are being used by the suppliers, if they are coming back to Honda on returnable containers, those labels need to be bought by one vendor. They have to be purchased from go-to partners. So not only did it help us and our suppliers to go through this recertification and get these Nice Label labels recertified with Honda for our customers, but it also was advantageous to Honda because it also weeded out some of their suppliers that they had not used the go-to partners labels. So it's a very good partnership between us, the OEMs, and the suppliers that use our products. The next thing I'd like to talk about is not only the automotive industry, but some changes that are coming up now for compliance in the food and beverage industry. There's regulation and mandates for the SFMA 204. And with that, it is requiring suppliers of food and beverage companies, grocery stores, restaurants, all of those, anything that deals with food and beverage, they are needing to now change what they've been doing in the past with EDI. So some of the suppliers in the past were able to get away with only receiving electronic orders and sending back electronic invoices to places like Walmart or Target or different grocery store chains like Kroger. That was all fine in the past, where you could get away with just receiving orders and sending back invoicing. But now with the new mandates, these are going to require suppliers to be sending shipping labels. They're going to be GS1 compliant labels that need to be printed. And the serial numbers that are on those labels will need to be sent back in the EDI transaction advanced shipping notice. So that can be a big change for you to be able to work with. Your shipping department may need to change everything that they've done in the past. Maybe before, in your ERP system, you would create a shipment and then you would ship that and you would invoice that. And that was all of the interaction that you really needed to do. But now these shipments, they need to have these GS1 labels affixed. So that means the people that are working in your shipping department are now going to need a way to print these labels. So will you need to make changes to your ERP system? Is your ERP system able to print these labels? Is your ERP system able to create the containerization that ties into the label? So for example, some ERP systems in the past maybe were just creating one shipment where it took an order and then it took all of the lines for that order and marked them as being shipped. And that was it. But now that information has to be put in containers. So these items of these lines of this sales order are going to go on this container. And this is going to be the label that's on that container. And then all of that information needs to be gathered into the ERP system to provide the EDI system with all of that information for the correct ASN. So this can be a big change for people, and you really do need to look at how is your company going to adapt to the requirements of these new mandates. The last one I'd like to touch on for those of you that are in the automobile space as well, the materials management logistics evaluation, or MMOGLE. Some of you that might supply GM or Ford, or there's many other OEMs that also require this. And this, it's a self-assessment that is done, that is required by the OEMs. And part of that, of course, if you're doing automotive, is the OEM side of EDI, but it also requires you to be exchanging EDI documents with your suppliers. So when you have larger suppliers, that makes things easier because the larger suppliers are already going to be EDI compliant. They might even have their own spec instead of you supplying them with an EDI specification for how you will send your requirements to them. They might say, because they're larger than you, that they will have a spec that you will use with them. But what about those mom and pops suppliers that you might have? How are they going to get this information, and how are you going to be compliant with MMOGLE with them? Well, you can, what we have found that works good for our customers is we actually can do anything to anything type of translation with our EDI translation software. So for a larger supplier that can be sent EDI documents, we set them up and map those with EDI documents. But some of the smaller suppliers, what we've done is we'll come up with a standard, maybe a CSV file that can be used so they can download a spreadsheet from your information. So a smaller mom and pop type of supplier can actually get your orders in the form of a spreadsheet. And then they also can save that CSV to maybe integrate with some type of package that they use at their location to be able to try to automate that. So with these supplier EDI requirements, it does not only meet requirements that you might be getting pushed to from your customers, but it also can automate the process for you as well. So maybe some of you have your customer side EDI set up with integration to your ERP, but you can also do the same on the supplier side. So the last poll question for today, if you could talk about your range of numbers for how many customer side trading partners do you currently have, and how many supplier side trading partners are you working with, whether it's EDI or not EDI currently. So that's the last poll question, and thank you all very much for that participation. So turning back from all of these things that we've talked about, thinking inside of how adaptable is your business and your business processes. Take a look and see, what are you doing? What do you have documented? How agile is your business to be able to adapt to all of these changes that are going on? Do you have the right systems in place to keep you on track and ahead of your competition? Think those things over. Those are some things to think about as we go out of the webinar today. And just a few takeaways that we've talked about. So it's really important to be proactive and prepared for change. You need to have an agile business. You also need to have partners that work with you that are just as agile as your business is. You need to protect your customer base. Are you making sure that you have visibility all the way from customer down to the tiniest supplier in your supply chain? Don't be afraid to implement more software. If you're doing a lot of things still with spreadsheets throughout the processes in your environment, in your organization, how can other technologies help you to stay agile and make things a lot more automated for you so that you are going to be able to adapt to changes coming up? All right, we're going to move into the Q&A section of the webinar.
Yeah, thank you, Bobbie. As you just said, we are transitioning to the Q&A period. Again, if anyone has any questions, please use that Q&A box on the right side of your screen to submit those. And we have one that we'll get started with. How does EDI software interact with an ERP system?
The EDI software actually integrates with ERPs using APIs. So some systems, there's all different types of integration that can happen with ERP systems. Some of our systems that we work with use flat file integration. Some use XML, where it's a file handoff. More of the systems that are more modern offer standard APIs with endpoints with exchange of XML or JSON data. So depending on the ERP system that you're using, we can integrate with that in many different forms.
Sure. And then we have another question. Is there space in the EDI world for any kind of AI assistance, reliance, just general, how will AI affect it?
Yeah, actually, I've been reading a lot of things about AI and how it can interact with EDI. Of course, the big things that you think of would be in the area of finding issues, right? More automation, better tracking of issues that might come up. So we can definitely rely on AI with our software that way. I've also read a lot of AI being more involved with mapping, actual mapping of the EDI transactions, which we are going to be looking at a lot at Radley. I mean, the more you can use technology to help you improve your systems, we're very open to that and hope that we can use a lot more AI in with our EDI translations and our other softwares as well, business analytics, things like that. There's so much that can be done in the software realm using AI. So I do see that all of the different softwares working more with AI in the future.
Sure. And I'm just going to give another few moments for anyone who is typing in a question. All right, it looks like we have hit the end of our questions for right now. So if anyone has any further questions in the future or just wants to learn more, feel free to contact CAI Software directly for assistance. Thank you to Bobbie again for speaking today. And as a reminder, today's presentation has been recorded and will be available for on-demand viewing shortly after we finish up here today. With that, thank you for taking the time out of your week to listen to us and have a great rest of your week.